Well, look who's coming here.
How are you, Mr. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Larry. Dan, my pleasure. My friend, come in.
Hey, Mr. Miller, how are you? Good to see you.
Doing great. Good to see you.
Lynyrd Skynyrd is one of the greatest rock bands of all time. The band pioneered a popular new genre of rock and roll, a mix of country, blues, and hard rock that was uniquely Southern.
I think it's recording.
Lynyrd Skynyrd's plain-spoken lyrics and unique sound put Southern rock on the map. The band's roots date back to 1964, when 5 teenagers from Jacksonville, Florida, first began playing together. Soon, Ronnie Van Zant, Bob Burns, Gary Rossington, Alan Collins, and Larry Johnstone formed Lynyrd Skynyrd.
What I'm gonna do? Say I'm living crazy, but I ain't no fool.
In the aftermath of the 1960s, Lynyrd Skynyrd became the voice of the New South. As the band toured the country with a sometimes changing lineup, including the brief addition of a young drummer and backup vocalist named Rickey Medlock, they gained a considerable fan base, opening for big-name bands like the Rolling Stones and the Who. But it was their smash hit, Sweet Home Alabama, in 1974 that made them a household name. It was the band's first top 10 single.
If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me?
Perhaps one of Lynyrd Skynyrd's most iconic songs is Free Bird. The song features their trademark 3-part guitar harmony. And while it may not have been an instant hit when it was first released, Free Bird has easily become the most requested live song in existence. Lynyrd Skynyrd is known not only for their music, but also for their resilience. After a horrific plane crash claimed the lives of 3 band members in 1977, a new lineup of Lynyrd Skynyrd emerged 10 years later, with Ronnie's younger brother Johnny Van Zant at the helm, along with one-time member Rickey Medlock and founding member Gary Rossington. The revamped Lynyrd Skynyrd lineup has been touring and putting out new music together for decades. Now in 2018, the band is on their farewell tour. I sat down with Johnny Van Zant, Gary Rossington, and Rickey Medlock on the USS Intrepid, a retired aircraft carrier that is now a floating museum docked on the Hudson River in New York.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming, guys.
Our pleasure. This is the farewell tour. Why a farewell? Why now?
Why now?
Actually, this is the last time we'll be touring a tour, but it's actually because of my health. I've had bad health lately. I got a bad heart and had a lot of stents put in and a few operations. So I didn't know I'd be lasting this long, or maybe we'd have waited, but it was for my health actually, and it takes a long time to finish a farewell tour when you're like us, because we played everywhere and there's thousands of venues. So I keep joking, it'd take 10 years to do the farewell tour.
Jared's going, it's going to be a long farewell.
But then after that, after a few years of doing this, we're going to do a CD, a new record, so we won't go away, but we won't be touring every year like we do.
Yeah, I've been in the group for 31 years, and we've been out here. Rickey, you're back with the group, what, 25? 25 years. And we've been out every summer. I live in Florida. I never see Florida because we're always on the road during the summer.
I hear it's hot down there.
Now here it is, yeah. I know it is in Texas.
Well, now, Lynyrd Skynyrd is well known for putting on a very different kind of concert, a unique concert. What makes it unique?
In all honesty, the music that Ronnie and Gary and Alan created back then is so unique and so heartfelt that people, they just are drawn to it. The music is really the key to it all. And we see it every night. I mean, every night that we walk out and we play those songs, we play Freebird, of course, at the very end of the night, and Sweet Home Alabama, and Simple Man, and Tuesday's Gone, and all these songs that they created. That is the real key secret to it, because those songs will be here a lot longer after we're all gone. And to me, the touring, people come every year to be able to celebrate the music that the band created, and I believe that's the magic of it.
I used to say, we're the Grateful Dead of the South, because Grateful Dead, we have fans that follow us from each gig to each gig.
Every night.
Every night you see these same fans, you're like, you're going to see the same show. I mean, they love it. They love it that much. My brother, Ronnie and Alan, and this band came from a very simple background on the west side of Jacksonville, Florida. And what they did was magical, and it touched people. It touched people with lyrics and the songs, and it was a unique band because they had 3 guitar players, a keyboard. There was a lot of strings. And Lynyrd Skynyrd, still to this day, it's the same thing.
But the longevity of all this, I think it is, like they said, the music and just the American dream story. There was a garage band, so to speak. There were so many millions after the Beatles came out, and that whole scene for a few years, the 60s. You did that plus the war and all that. We saw you do back then too.
Yeah.
And we all started and it was just a dream, but we get to go out there and see, like they were mentioning, Freebird and Simple Man and certain songs that touch people. And it's their, they get off,
childhood.
Their childhood or their college days. They'll say, that got me through college, staying up all night doing my exam, Oh, you get this, I played you at my wedding or what. So stuff like that, we just thrive on,
We listen to the fans, and they say, this song was played at my father's funeral, or, at our graduation. And Ronnie really was the poet for common people.
Well, I do want to talk about Ronnie, but if I describe, or if anyone else described your music as operettas for working people.
Oh, wow, yeah.
That's an interesting...
That's the same as Merle Haggard's Working
Man Blues?
Yeah. Working man poet. Ronnie was that too, but geez.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. What you said it's really cool. We'll be flying somewhere and stuff, and people will come out, and you'll be standing there for a while, and they're just the oddest people that you'd never think have heard of Lynyrd Skynyrd and even know what rock and roll is. I'll come up to you and go, man, I really appreciate your music, or just say something, and you go, how do they know me? Just dumb dropout high school kid from
Redneck.
Redneck, yeah. It's just funny,
Well, you and probably some of your fans are going to roll their eyes at this question, but it's a must-ask question. Why the name Lynyrd Skynyrd?
Uh-oh. Well, yeah, we get that asked a lot. It was my gym coach, but in the early days we used to hang out so much together. When the phone would ring and it would be a wrong number, we had a joke saying it was Lynyrd. Or if the door thought you heard somebody at the door, you go answer, nobody there, it was Lynyrd. Or you'd hear a noise or something. It was Lynyrd. It was like a joke in the band. And then I got a gym coach named Lynyrd Skynyrd. And during that time, during gym class and all that, when you're running and stuff, your hair falls down. And back then we wanted to be like the Beatles, like I said, and have long hair. But the dress code was down to your eyebrows and not touching your ears. So during school, we'd put, the guys in the band, we'd put Vaseline or Brill cream, you remember that, and stuff like that, and put it in grease
Real
and straight
quick,
back.
dabber do you?
Yeah, little dabber.
do.
And it did too. But anyway, we do that, and then it looked short. But then after school, we'd shake it down and have a little bit of a Beatle cut. But he'd see us a lot, and he kept throwing me out of school. Well, not throwing me out, but sending you home, and you had to get a haircut to come back in. So he kicked me out 2 or 3 or 4 times, and finally, I just quit because we were playing in the band, and that was our dream, and we knew we were going to make it. And if we weren't, we were still going to die trying and playing clubs and stuff. So I was, I just
You didn't have plan B.
I didn't have no plan B. And but it was after a gym coach. We spelled the name with Y's, and spelled it different so we wouldn't get sued by him. But it was a gym coach, man. It's funny.
Well, did you finally make your peace with the old gym coach?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
saw him actually. When we came back the first time, we sold out the Coliseum in Jacksonville. He introduced us. So the mayor who had just given us the key to the city said, "Here's Lynyrd Skynyrd." And everybody really clapped. And this gym coach walked out. "I'm the real Lynyrd Skynyrd." And they loved that. And then we came out, so.
Well, he probably loved it himself.
Yeah, he introduced us. He did real good. He opened up a bar called Skinner's Place and a realty company and made it big after that.
He still had the short hair, though. He had the military.
And he probably still disapproved of you a long time.
He did. If he could have kicked him out, he would have.
Up next here on The Big Interview, Lynyrd Skynyrd on the devastating day that forever changed their lives.
You sure you can cope with the pressure of this?
The X Factor UK is on AXS TV on Sunday and Monday nights. The live shows are here.
Let's go.
And the stakes are higher than ever.
Blows away.
Now, it's time to leave it all on the stage.
Right, this could change your life.
Don't miss surprise appearances by the world's biggest pop stars.
That was a surprise.
I would sign you on the spot.
It's the X Factor UK, all new Sundays and Mondays, 8, 7 Central. Set your DVR on AXS TV.
Last year, Belfour did 114,000 different jobs around the world. We've been to floods, fires, tornado sites, earthquakes, where people have lost everything. Yes, your homes can be rebuilt, and yes, your businesses will be rebuilt. But most importantly, your lives will be rebuilt. There's nothing that we cannot fix, and we believe that.
It's our pictures.
To me, that's Belfour. At Belfour, we're restoring more than property.
I still find music like more complete mystery. This is before Hendrix.
He doesn't know anything, but he can really play the guitar.
His precision is stunning.
I won't do what I'm told to do.
Because that's what a cool guitar player is supposed to look like. He's a fireball.
I got this axe.
I thought I was going to die. Where was that? Truly unique and original.
The next minute, the police were knocking at the door.
What's your name, little girl? What's your name?
On October 17, 1977, Lynyrd Skynyrd was on top of the world. They had just released their highly anticipated 5th studio album, Street Survivors, and they were embarking on a world tour. But 3 days later, it would all come to a screeching halt.
This bulletin just in, the Federal Aviation Administration reports that a plane carrying 25 persons crashed tonight in southwest Mississippi.
The band was aboard a small twin-engine plane on their way to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, when the plane lost fuel and crashed. 6 people lost their lives. Among them was the heart and soul of the band, Ronnie Van Zant. 20 others on board somehow survived the crash, including guitarist Gary Rossington.
I don't want to raise anything that's nightmarish. It has to be nightmarish for you. But you're in the plane, you know it's going down. Give us a sense of that. I mean, did you spend your time in prayer? Did you spend the time cursing the airplane?
Well, we were playing poker and just having a flight, you know, on a private plane. There's no rules. You don't have to buckle up or sit down the whole time or nothing. Anyway, we were just flying along. But the co-pilot came back and said, "Hey guys, we got trouble. We're gonna make a emergency landing in a field, so get ready. Put your head between your legs and buckle up." So most people did that, you know. Now myself, Ronnie was by me, and Dean, another guy that died during the crash, our road manager, Dean Kirkpatrick. And Alan was across from me, and Cassie and Steve Gaines, they both died. And me and Alan didn't. So we always ask ourselves, why didn't we go and not them? But the sense before it crashed was you're in so much shock or disbelief, and at the same time, belief, and oh my God, it's true. And what you don't have time to think, even if you had 10 minutes, your mind just goes. And I thought, I just, you know, was waiting and thinking nothing. You know, I didn't know what to think. But it was really scary for a minute. And then all of a sudden it was a real calm, like, well, it's gonna happen. And then it started and we hit the tops of trees. And it was real loud and started soft and got so loud until it just crashed, you know. And I woke up, it was like a Vietnam experience or something. I wasn't there, but I woke up in a swamp hearing all my brothers crying or screaming, you know, because they were hurt and it was natural or dead. And so I was hurt real bad, and I thought the plane door was on me, some hunk of metal. And I screamed out for somebody to get it off of me. And finally I said, "Dean," our road manager, "get this thing off of me." And well, Dean walked over and threw that piece of metal off of me. But then later in the hospital, a few weeks later, a doctor told me that the way he came in, he couldn't have done that. What happened to him? So it was a spirit. So I believe in that. But there was so much I could go on for 2 days about.
He was the helper, wasn't he?
It's God. It was God. You see him. And after the crash, I remember laying in the hospital for the first week or so. But the first 3 or 4 days, I say 3 because that's when Jesus, you know, was resurrected after 3 days. But I could see all over their faces and the flowers. People were seeing a lot of flowers. They were all over the room. And when I looked in there, I'd see them. And I believe it was their spirit helped me get through it. But coming to me and being there right with me. I remember that. But going down, that sense of going down, to me, it was more peaceful than crazy. Nobody said a word. Everybody just went, all right, this is for real, let's do it. And I still question why I'm here, you know. And so it's something you live to forget and wish you could forget it. It's the worst thing ever happened to you. But then you talk about it and you live it every day. So that's why I'm so crazy and goofy. but it was the heaviest thing that ever happened, you know.
Well, I'm smiling with the rest of the guys, but not a little to smile about it. Do you or do you not still have nightmares about it? You have to talk about it. People such as myself going to ask you about it.
I hate to say this to you, a lot. I do. I don't even tell my wife but if I told you every night, I don't think you'd believe me, but every night I have some kind of weird dream about it.
Well, let me ask you this, and you've been so generous with your time and with yourself, and I appreciate it, but you know, the history, I don't know of another band that has this kind of history. You know, the band was very successful. The band then comes back in many ways as strong as it ever was, with the brother taking over lead singing role. How did you make that happen?
You know, Dan, for me, honestly, I had quit the music business and I went driving truck. So I'm driving my truck, but I still love to write songs. I was doing some demo tapes, and this gentleman named Joe Boylan, who I met in Nashville, says, "Hey, I know Ahmet Ertegun. He's chairman of Atlantic Records. And he's signed Led Zeppelin and Ray Charles and
everybody.
And I think he'll like your stuff." I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Well," so I'd send him a cassette. And honestly, on Friday night, I get a call from this gentleman saying that Ahmet wants to come in and talk to me. Sign me to Atlantic Records. I said, "Oh, okay. Yeah, been in the music business. I didn't quit this nonsense." And I couldn't believe it was going to happen. So anyway, on Monday, Ahmet Ertegun flies in, signs me to Atlantic Records. On the following Friday, Gary called me and said, "Hey, we want to go out and do a tribute tour and respect the name of Lynyrd Skynyrd." I said, "My God, I was driving a truck in 1 week. I mean, I got a record deal and I got Gary calling me." So I walked into a room, and here are the surviving members. If my brother would have lived, Lynyrd Skynyrd would have went on. He was that type of man. He said, we're going to dust it off, and we're going to carry this thing on. Whenever they asked me to be a part of this, I said, let's go in and try to rehearse. It's been 31 years. 31 years for me playing with Gary and Dale, his wife. And it seems like 31 seconds, you know?
Everybody knows now, today, it's not the original band, and if they don't, we talk about it and tell it, and they learn the story, but they know it's not, and they still come, and we decided that after that, the music spoke for itself, and the people loved it, so we just fell in love with playing again, and being Lynyrd Skynyrd and playing our songs and sharing it, because there's a lot of young people who never heard us, or knew Ronnie or knew of the songs, and so we wanted to play it for them.
It's amazing. We call it the Skynyrd Nation. It's 3 generations bold. Now we're working on 4, you know. And for me personally, I just got to say this, that I never wanted to replace Ronnie. Ronnie was like Babe Ruth or Mickey Mantle. Yeah. You know, how do you replace that? And you know what? For me, I always looked at Ronnie as a quarterback, and I was a receiver. I grabbed it, and we took off.
If it wasn't for him, I mean, it was the time Ronnie was so independent and such his own man that only Johnny could do it. It couldn't be another male vocalist because you'd be compared. Everybody loves it and writes it. It's all over the internet. The shows we do go over, and they keep coming, so we're still here, you know.
More of my interview with Lynyrd Skynyrd when we come back.
This band needs to rock.
The Big Interview with Dan Rather, featuring Kansas.
The odds were definitely against us.
It was just the 6 of us with our arms linked, and we're going to go out there and kick every band's ass that we could find, and every night when we opened, we were going to blow them off stage.
The Big Interview with Dan Rather, featuring Kansas. Premieres next Tuesday at 9/8 Central. Set your DVR now only on AXS TV.
Quiet! If we make a mistake here, we could just do it over. But retirement planning isn't like that. You might not get a second chance to do it right. Personal Capital can help. With a retirement planner that takes the guesswork out of retirement. Join for free. You'll get all these free retirement and investing tools. Plus this free guide, 65 Ways to Retire Smart. It's packed with tips to help you plan, save, and invest for retirement. Join for free at personalcapital.com/TV.
Attention Medicare beneficiaries. The Center for Medicare Services has officially authorized new benefits Medicare Advantage plans may include. Plans may now include private home aids and rides to medical appointments. Most plans also include dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage. To get the benefits you deserve, call the Medicare Coverage Helpline now.
Hi, I'm Joe Namath. I called the Medicare Coverage Helpline, and they instantly advised me that I wasn't getting all the benefits I deserved. They explained I could get a plan that includes dental and prescription coverage, as well as the new coverage for private home aids and rides to medical appointments. If you want to find out what you deserve, call the number on your screen now. It's free. You'll be happy you called, I guarantee it.
Call to see if you can save money and get more benefits now. Don't delay. Call now. It's free. Call 1-800-758-0717. That's 1-800-758-0717 now.
Rebirth, which you end the concert with just about every time. Who wants to talk about the history of Rebirth and how it came about?
Actually, Alan Collins wrote the music, and he wrote these chords. The chords of Freebird he had for a while, a month or two, and kept playing them, you know, when we'd be at rehearsal or sitting around the living room or just hanging. We always had a guitar, so he'd play those chords. And we thought of writing a song, but Ronnie kept thinking, no, there's too many changes. I can't think of a melody to that. So we'd go on. And that happened a while, and he kept playing it a lot. You know, Alan would play it every once in a while. Finally, Ronnie went, hey, play that again. And he just kind of, we were on the couch, I remember, and he said, play that again. And he'd say it 2 or 3 times, and all of a sudden, he'd go, what do you think about this? And then he'd just sing the whole song to you, or his idea. He wouldn't write it down. He thought if you couldn't remember it, it wasn't worth keeping. Usually we'd come out of the shower. We'd be on the road, or even when we were younger, playing little teen dance and high school dancing. Come out of the shower when we're getting ready and go, hey, listen to this, and start singing an idea.
The acoustics were good in the shower.
Yeah, we either would have a guitar and come up with some music, me or Alan, or Ed, or who was around, or else we'd have a lick and, you know, say, what do you think of this? And he would write it, but he'd never write it, he'd write it.
Well, at the other end, Simple Man is a moving homage not only to your brother Ronnie Van Sant, but to the entire band.
Well, the band loves it. Man, I remember that one too. I had the chords. I was just playing the chords over and over to him, seeing if he could come up with anything. And he did it again. He just came out with them after he had them. After I'd played it for about 20 or 30 minutes, he'd say, "What do you think of it?" And start singing them. We had just talked about his grandmother has just died, or Johnny's too.
Francis, yeah.
Died, and my father died when I was 10, so I didn't have a father really raising me. And we were talking about our mothers and grandmothers, so to speak. And we got on that subject, and I had the chords, and he just came up with those lyrics. He came out with stuff because he felt it so much from his heart, and it just came through him, you know, through God or through whatever spirit it is that makes people write songs and pull them out of the air, you know. But they would come to him, and they were magical, you know. If he couldn't, like I keep saying, if he couldn't remember them, he wouldn't write it. It either had to be good enough to remember, and most of them are, you know.
All of us were Southern, so for us it was yes ma'am, yes sir. And when your mama talked, you listened, you know, and that's the way we were raised. We were raised very common, and my dad was a truck driver, and you know,
raised to be simple men,
yeah,
you know,
really was.
Be happy
and listen to mama, because if you didn't, my mom would slap you with a frying pan.
And you know what else? If you listen, this is a very simple song, but if you listen, if you do what that song says, you'll be happy. Find a woman, you'll find love, you know. Good times come, but they will pass, you know. Or hard times will come. They'll pass. It'll be good. And every word he says or verse is true. And if you follow that, you're there, you know. It's
Don't
really
forget
cool.
there's someone up above.
He was the most amazing. He to me, after being in the band in the early years, he was the most amazing guy to be able to take and write a song that everybody could relate to. I mean, he had a gift from the Creator boy that really, that was just amazing, to me still to this day. I mean, he really knew how to put it into words.
Coming up next on The Big Interview, Lynyrd Skynyrd talks about one of their biggest but most controversial songs.
You sure you can cope with the pressure of this?
The X Factor UK is on AXS TV on Sunday and Monday nights. The live shows are here.
Let's go.
And the stakes are higher than ever.
Blows away.
Now, it's time to leave it all on the stage.
Right? This could change your life.
Don't miss surprise appearances by the world's biggest pop stars.
That was a surprise.
I would sign you on the spot.
It's the X Factor UK, all new Sundays and Mondays, 8, 7 Central. Set your DVR on AXS TV.
I'm always interested in getting the story straight.
Be the first to watch exclusive footage from The Big Interview and get tune-in alerts straight to your phone. Text TBI to 63661.
Lynyrd Skynyrd is known for their patriotism as well as their unabashed Southern pride. Early in their career, a record company pushed the group to adopt the Confederate flag as part of their act. Since then, the stars and bars have become part of the band's visual imagery.
In Sweet Home Alabama, it has references to Watergate, references to then Governor George Wallace. We could spend all day talking about it. For one thing, it's one of the best known songs of my lifetime and yours. But tell us what those lyrics were meant to convey.
Well, there's a lot to that. Now, Ronnie wrote them, so I mean, I can't put myself in his head and exactly tell you, but he just wrote about what was happening at that time, you know, and that has a lot to do with the Southern thing and the Confederate flag and all that. When we first came out, there wasn't Southern music yet, and after the Allman Brothers and us kind of came out and popularized it a year or two later, Southern music had a name, Southern, instead of just rock and roll. It's Southern rock.
Anybody from the South.
Yeah, so we had the flag then, and our record company really had the flag out because we're from the South and very proud of it. I'm still proud to be there and all this stuff. And we never had to hurt anybody's feelings or any political reasons like now. In the 60s, you know, it was a whole different thing and a whole different era. And the 70s, you know, the flag didn't mean quite as much as it does today, or didn't offend people. And we don't want to offend people, so we don't use it now. But I don't know why I'm off on the rebel flag.
No, I want to make it
clear. I wanted to tell you, Ronnie was a jokester. If you look at it, like Gary said, I think he loved George Wallace too, but if you hear the lyrics, in Birmingham they love the governor, boo, 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 you know, so, but he wanted to make, it was more of a joke song to me. I mean, kind of really was. If you listen to the lyrics, talking about Neil Young, Ronnie loved Neil Young, but it says, Neil Young, Southern man don't need you around, you know, in the lyrics. And it's amazing to me. We go over to Europe. That's like here in the States, a lot of times Freebird, the song Freebird's bigger than Alabama, you know, as far as concerts, playing concerts. Go over to Europe, they love Sweet Home Alabama. It's amazing the band was created in Jacksonville, Florida, but people think the band's from Alabama.
Yeah.
But the reason why they were in Alabama so much too was that they were recording down in Buster Shoals.
You mentioned the flag, we talked about the Confederate flag, which for a long time was sort of a symbol associated with the band. And for a very long time, until quite recently. And he said, you're not a racial band. It's not a racial reference.
Never.
But for the viewers, for someone watching this and doesn't know the history of the band, that may not know much about the band, and is saying, why the hell would they ever use the Confederate flag? Right. Why would they ever use the Confederate flag?
Can I say something real quick? I think that it was set up, okay, we're a Southern band, we're going to battle. let's put that up, because let's run with it, because that was a battle flag. You know what I mean? Okay, we're trying to make a point here. Let's go out and do this, and for us, though, if you listen to the song Sweet Home Alabama, the girls on it, those are Water Sisters.
Yeah.
This famous gospel group. They're black. So, I mean, my favorite singer of all time is Ray Charles, So, I mean, if you listen to that, so we have been called racist, Oh, well, you're racist, And we're like, what? Us?
Well, also back then it wasn't it's such a racial, I mean, the way politics are now and political everything, it's more of a big deal. They weren't tearing down Confederate,
monuments and
all that back then. They weren't doing that. It didn't hurt people as much. And we never meant to hurt anybody or make anybody's feelings, hurt their feelings. We were just a band from the South and proud of it. And it was a gimmick.
And you can't erase history.
Use it as a gimmick.
What are you going to erase history?
Well, this is a touchy subject, and it ought to be, given our country's history. But it is true, it's just a fact, one can say they like it or don't like it. During the 50s and 60s, on into the early 70s, a lot of institutions and a lot of brands connected with the South had the Confederate flag as an almost automatic signal. Southern University of Mississippi football team and sports teams had it, South Carolina, all of that. But now we're near the end of the second decade of the 21st century.
I think the one thing that's really kind of gotten to us is that you've had a lot of different groups adopt that as their symbol. And I won't get into who it is. But, it did, for them to adopt that, it's not the same meaning. We see a lot of mixed races in our shows. You're looking at an Indian right now. Okay?
Indian as a Native American.
As a native. And the deal is we see a lot of that and we see a lot of mixed races and they come and they enjoy Sweet Home Alabama and they enjoy the band Lynyrd Skynyrd. And personally speaking for me, okay, I can understand some things why people, would take offense to it now. I do. I get it. But we're a rock and roll band. We're not politicians. We don't profess to be politicians. You'll never catch me running for president. And I don't think they'd want me in there anyway.
Well, I mean, this is great respect. I'm relieved to hear that.
Me too.
This band needs to rock.
The Big Interview with Dan Rather, featuring Kansas.
The odds were definitely against us. It was just the six of us with our arms linked, and we're going to go out there and kick every band's ass that we could find, and every night when we opened, we were going to blow them off stage.
The Big Interview with Dan Rather, featuring Kansas. Premieres next Tuesday at 9/8 Central. Set your DVR now only on AXS TV.
Hey, I'm Johnny Van Zandt.
I'm Rickey. Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Lynyrd Skynyrd. Hey, come see us and some good friends.